as we head into this busy holiday weekend. Their goal, to bring awareness to the consequences of in-flight violence. While federal data finds unruly passenger incidents have actually fallen since their peak in early 2021, one union says they are still happening too often. Scenes like this playing out at airports and in the air, videos of fights spreading like wildfire on social media. Earlier this year, Delta's CEO asked the Justice Department to set up a federal no-fly list for those unruly passengers. And this is our first topic today on our Rush Hour Roundtable, one of my favorite parts of the week. So let's introduce you to today's panel. We have Aaron Perini, Republican strategist and former communications director for Senator Ted Cruz and President Trump's re-election campaign. Jason Rantz, host of the Jason Rantz Show on KTTH in Seattle. Candace Binbo, theologian and author of Red Lip Theology. And finally, Tracy Walder, former CIA and FBI agent and author of The Unexpected Spy. So panel, who is responsible for keeping all of us safe in the air? Should airlines maybe be providing security, or should there be more air marshals? Tracy, as our former CIA and FBI agent, we will start off with you.
So it's good to see you, Nicole. So the first thing is I actually wholeheartedly support a federal no-fly list in a situation like this. I do not understand why anyone who is going to use their fists, weapons, whatever, to create this kind of havoc on an airplane or in an airport should be allowed to fly again. I mean, that's just this plain and simple. You know, when I was an FBI special agent, and if I was flying and did have my badge and gun on me, I was the air marshal on the airplane. And yes, certainly we could hire more air marshals to do that. We did that just after September 11th, but I don't know that that fixes the problem. I think that there needs to be more accountability to the people that partake in these flights. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have security. We do need air marshals. I do think that airlines need to be spending more money in ensuring that their flyers are safe and also their flight attendants and staff are safe. But I think at the same time, we need to have more consequences for this behavior, because really what I'm seeing is, particularly in a case, I believe it was a flight to San Diego, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, really the woman was not banned from flying for all of eternity. She was just simply banned from flying that particular airline. And I think that there needs to be a federal response to that, because it's unacceptable, and it would have been unacceptable pre-COVID as well.
I mean, we don't even put criminals in jail and keep them in jail. So this idea that a fight on a plane might lead to a permanent lifetime ban seems a little bit extreme to me. Look, at the end of the day, I think it's important to step back just a little bit and note that we're not actually seeing these kinds of fights break out all the time. Certainly, we've seen a little bit of an increase, but I think social media is actually amplifying it and making it seem like it's way worse than it is. Well, at the same time, you know what we can also do? Maybe encourage the flight themselves, the airlines and the flight attendants, to chill just a little bit. Flying right now sucks. It has sucked for a very long time. COVID rules were put in place, made things worse. We're not provided the same level of service that we have been in the past. And I think tensions are just naturally rising. So I think everyone can bring it down. No one's going to excuse the violence. But we've also seen the videos of flight attendants get a little over the top because a 2-year-old wasn't wearing a mask. So that actually gets counted towards these stats of unruly passengers when it's not actually them being unruly.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I would not equate a flight attendant enforcing her job with a passenger getting drunk and calling another passenger out their name and punching them in the face. Like, I think that we have to be very honest about the levels of violence that we are experiencing and we're seeing, whether it is a microcosm or whether it is an actual problem. We need some help. Nobody gets on a plane and wants to be harassed. Nobody gets on a plane and wants to be assaulted. And whether or not it's a lifetime ban or a few months or a couple of years, we need to see consequences so people can know that this is not behavior that adults and civilized human beings engage in.
Well, Aaron, before we get to you, I want to talk, Tracy mentioned that no-fly list, maybe a universal no-fly list. And there actually has been legislation introduced. It's in Congress to essentially create this unruly passenger list to be put on, on a commercial no-fly list. Aaron, do you think that is a solution?
Well, I don't know specifically what that legislation is that you're pointing to, but I can tell you the major concern with a no-fly list is proper adjudication, right? Can an individual be able to adjudicate their rights in a court of law to be able to restore their ability should an instance not be fully understood by a flight attendant or an air marshal or what the circumstance may be? So that's a big part. We still need to protect civil liberties and rights here in the United States. And while these are private businesses, the total ban of an individual from being able to use a form of public transportation that they are paying for without proper adjudication is certainly something that needs to be looked at. And I think that Jason's point's exactly right here. We have criminals who aren't staying in jail right now, but on airlines, they're allowed to fly. I think overall in this country, we certainly could do a better job of holding those accountable who break the law. If you punch somebody in the face, that's assault. You're breaking the law. You should get in trouble for that. On an airline, in the street, it doesn't matter where.
I know, holding accountable, I was wondering if we have video of, do you guys remember the man who was duct taped to his seat? That was always one of my favorite videos. But, okay, how about a different scenario here, panel? So there's a Southwest Airlines pilot. He's gone viral for warning to pull back a plane if passengers did not stop airdropping inappropriate pictures. Take a listen.
So here's the deal. This continues while we're on the ground. I'm going to have to pull back to the gate. Everybody's going to have to get off. We're going to have to get security involved, and it's vacation that's going to be ruined. So you folks, whatever that airdrop thing is, quit sending naked pictures. Let's get yourself to Cabo.
All right. So I don't know if you could hear, but there were passengers who are like, "Oh no." How should airlines protect passengers from this type of cyber assault? For those who don't know, you can if your phone is open to accept, you can airdrop anything to someone else whose phone is open. But if you were on a plane and obviously they were going to Cabo, but let's say you had a meeting to get to on the other side of the country, or if you were trying to get on your vacation, would this type of solution be okay?
It's not really up to the airline to stop people from airdropping photos. People just need to know how to use their cell phone. I mean, anybody could drop anything to you via airdrop, and you need to be a little bit more aware of cybersecurity and that the fact that your cell phone is a personal asset with personal information on it. You should do a better job of understanding how it works and preventing people from being able to share things with you that you don't want.
I agree with them.
And let's also be honest here.
I have a 7-year-old daughter who sometimes when I'm on airplanes, has my phone. And I don't make her have my phone. She may have taken it for whatever reason to play with an app. And that's really not the best solution in a situation like that, particularly, if you have a situation where you have little kids. The reality is that person is sending porn to people who don't want it. And that in and of itself is actually a crime, and that is punishable by law. And I don't necessarily have a problem with the pilot, I guess, basically turning the plane around, if you will. I'm thinking about things I've said to my kid before, and because I don't know how else you would fix that problem. I get the Wi-Fi when I'm on planes sometimes because I have work to do. I'm sure we all have done that before. And so, aside from not allowing people to access Wi-Fi, which I think would be an impossible thing to do, I'm not certain, because you can't duct tape a person to a chair in that case, what exactly you would do. But you can't send unwanted naked pictures. That's pornography. I mean, you can do it, yes. But it's still pornography.
Jason, I know
this isn't really, at some point we have to explain that this is not really on the airlines. I mean, you could have this exact same scenario unfold literally anywhere. I can go to a Starbucks and do the exact same thing or become the victim. So, I mean, this is really truly on us as individuals to either learn how to turn off our airdrop or not accept airdrops from strangers. I don't know if this is avoidable, but here's the good thing. This doesn't really happen. It happened one time. That's the reason why it's gone viral. It might inspire some folks to go ahead and do something. So again, next time you're on a flight, particularly Southwest, I'm going to throw in Spirit, just turn off your airdrop.
And, we can always just suggest that the airlines just stock up on more duct tape. That's also an option as well. All right, well, coming up on our Rush Hour Roundtable, politics in the pulpit. I think we're going to talk a lot about this one. A pastor instructing his congregation to vote out progressives. Do politics belong in church?